Alright, I'm going to go into part one on how I became an addict. This might take a few minutes, so I'm going to kick back a little bit. I apologize. It all started at the age of 15 for me. When I say how I became an addict, I know people have the belief that, oh, you were an addict before, you just didn't know. Whatever. This is how everything started. So I was 15 at the time, and I had gotten out of gym class. We had just done the mile run. I don't know if anyone remembers those, but I got a dog hair in my mouth. Got it. Yeah, and I had a pounding headache when I got back to the house. Sorry. Yeah, so I was looking for something to get rid of the headache, and I knew what acetaminophen was. And I looked in the cabinet, and I found what I was looking for, but what I ended up taking turned out to be my parents' painkillers from when my dad had surgery on his leg, and I didn't know. All I saw was the acetaminophen part, right? I wasn't really a knowledgeable kid. I didn't know what Percocets were. I didn't know what Vicodin. I didn't know what any of that was. All I knew is that I believe I took 4 10-milligram pills the first time and vomited everywhere. But before that, I felt wonderful. I was like, wow, I didn't know Tylenol could be so awesome. Well, it wasn't Tylenol. Like I said, it was Percocet 10s. Now, to anyone out there, if you're on painkillers and you have family members, don't leave your painkillers in the family medicine cabinet, okay? Accidents happen. Like, I didn't actively go looking for drugs, and I was just looking for Tylenol, and I ended up taking a Percocet. Now, this is 100% true. I know it sounds like bullshit, but I accidentally stumbled upon my parents' painkillers, and I'm sure that happens to people, but I didn't progress from pills from 15 all the way until 18. So I was just stealing from my parents until 18 years old, and I ended up getting a job that summer after graduation. And at the time when I was 18, I think I stopped for a little bit, and one of my best friends introduced me to his brother. He was always in my phone as James Franco, so that's what I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him James Franco. Anyways, so me and James got to talking. My buddy introduced me to him, so we're just talking, and come to find out he has some painkillers on him, and I'm like, oh, word, let me get one. And so that kicked it back up again for me at 18, and the worst part about this was one day we couldn't find any painkillers. Like, we had been, sorry, let me get my foot off my tripod. Okay. One day we couldn't find any painkillers. All we could find was powdered heroin. I didn't know what heroin was. I thought it was like, I didn't know it was an opiate. I thought it was like its own thing. I didn't think it was the same as painkillers. And if you don't know, that's what heroin is. Heroin is basically, it's morphine before it's heroin. So there's that. Let me look at my notes. Yeah, so anyways, all we could find was powdered heroin, and reluctantly I tried it, and it was awesome. I mean, that's the biggest problem with drugs, is they're awesome. So yeah, but I was snorting pills and powdered heroin at the time. I wasn't injecting yet, and I was one of those people who I swore. I was like, no, I'll never do that. Blah, 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 blah. Never. Blah. I did. And I'll get into how and why. But, yeah, so I'd been doing, I'm probably 18 and a half now, doing powdered heroin and Roxy 30s. Whenever I could find them, I'd always try to get the 30s instead of the powdered heroin. And one fateful day, hold on one second. Gross. Anyways, one fateful day, couldn't find anything. Couldn't find painkillers. Couldn't find powdered heroin. The only thing James could find was black tar heroin. And I mean, my intention with the black tar heroin was to kind of like eat it like a pill. Um, but James convinced me otherwise. Anyways, we pick up the black tar heroin and we go to a Walmart at the pharmacy, and he grabs a 100 pack of diabetes needles, the 1cc long point, and we go back to my buddy's house, and I'm watching him cook it up, and he does his shot, and I could see it on his face that the shit was working. Like, I mean, it's obvious, and I was so afraid, but I wanted to get high so bad. I had been doing so many pills that just regular eating pills didn't really get me high anymore. I'd have to take like a ludicrous amount of pills to get high, and that's why I snorted them. But I didn't know of a way to snort black tar heroin other than to like mix it into a liquid and then like snort the liquid, but I wasn't about to do that. So reluctantly, again, I say that, but I don't really know if it was reluctant. I probably was ready. I was probably willing to do it. Anyways, he cooks the shot up for me and hits me. And before he hit me, though, he told me to sit down, which is something I'll remember for the rest of my life. He told me to sit down. And I was like, nah, man, I'm blah, blah, blah. And, well, he hit me and I fell. So, man, it was over from there, man. It was over from there. But let me look at my notes again. Yeah, so that was the first time I shot up. And I was 18 and a half years old. So I had been doing drugs for about 3.5 years at this point. So it took 3.5 years for me to go from taking pills to snorting to shooting up. And I don't know if I'm going to record part 2 tonight or if I'm going to put it out there tomorrow, but these videos are the how, and I'll be coming out with the why I chose to continue doing drugs after I took those first pills. But if there are any specifics anybody wants to know, if anybody wants to talk to me, you're more than welcome to. I believe my email's in my YouTube about section, so I'm available to talk whenever. If you're a woman and you want to talk to a woman, my sister's available to talk also. But yeah, I'll be getting part 2 out to you as soon as I can.